initiation that is taking place, that is going to occur. As far as the Illuminati are concerned, they are pushing this as hard as they can, relentlessly, non-stop, with their pawns such as Sam Levinson, son of Levi, of the Levite ritual, ancient Hebrew high priesthood, high magi priesthood of the Temple of Solomon, the one who hide behind the veil in the Holy of Holies, who offer the blood ritual sacrifices of the ancient Hebrew ritual sacrificial system. I know this, like, before I learned any of this stuff, like, this would have sounded insane to me. Like, I would have been like, what the hell are you talking about? But this is the hard, mind-blowing truth is that anyone can, I mean, I can cite, I cite all of my sources for all of this stuff. You can cite the Talmud, you can cite the Torah, you can cite the actual sources of all of this stuff. It is Judgment Day. Yom Kippur is the Islamic Day of Judgment. The Hebrew Day of Atonement for your sins, where the high Hebrew Levite priesthood, who would literally, the high Levite priesthood are the ones who used the Aaronic blessing. They attributed the blessing to the animal sacrifice, to the scapegoat, during the scapegoat ritual, and they imbued all of the sins of the nation onto the innocent scapegoat victim, and then they slaughtered it and they sacrificed it and they released it into the wilderness, which was actually, they released it off a cliff. So I'm now going to take this opportunity to decode this, probably the most symbolic and meaningful scene in the entire Avengers saga, I guess you could call it. And the most symbolic scene, the most initiatory scene, is of why we will break down how Thanos, why he must enter in through the cave, the gateway of initiation between the twin pillars of the left and right hemispheres, between the portal between the pillars of Jachin and Boaz, the twin pillars, as we covered early on very briefly, and as we'll cover much more deeply and have in our previous film series in Symbols of Power and in the future film series to come. But so you will know the secrets as to what this all means, why Thanos is guided by the tutelary deity, the tutelary spirit, the guide between the twin pillars as the Red Skull.
Guiding others to a treasure I cannot possess. What you seek lies in front of you, as does what you fear.
What's this?
The price. Saul holds a special place among the Infinity Stones. You might say it has a certain wisdom. The stone demands a sacrifice.
Of what?
In order to take the stone, you must lose that which you love. A soul for a soul.
That's the 101 2 Echo X-ray.
The 2 Echo X-ray, roger.
So the mystery of the 101 is something that I've been wanting and desiring to cover for a long time, because it's extremely powerful and extremely significant, and it plays into so much. Is so fundamental and so foundational to not just my work, but you know, to the universal work, the great work, the universal truth. And so I've been meaning, we will cover this more deeply along the same lines of the same content that has appeared in other of my videos that I still need to get to finishing. One of them being the Las Vegas event of 2017, of the Las Vegas harvest, and then another one being just an overall overarching theme that I will show you visual graphics of here. But so this is, again, the significance of the 101. I've noticed this for a long while, for the several years that I had been living in California. And there's also the Highway 88, but yeah, so the 101 is highly significant. It represents the mysteries of death and rebirth itself. It is literally, it's the twin pillars and the gateway where the journey, the mystery of death ends, but also yet begins as the journey of the initiation into consciousness through the twin pillars of the left and right hemisphere, through the pineal gland, the gateway, the all-seeing eye, linked to the ancient Egyptian mysteries, what was Sirius, the link from the pineal gland to Sirius, which was considered where the kings go after death. The pathway, the journey of kings, the transmigration of the soul, the pathway of the kings to become gods and deities as the stars in the heavens, the link between consciousness of the earth to the consciousness of Sirius. So this was the ancient Egyptian mysteries of death and rebirth. So thus far I've only given a brief cursory overview of all of my symbolism, and I haven't delved deep, fully explaining each one of the symbols and each one of the examples of where we find the gateway of initiation of the 101, the entry into the portal of initiation. And so I want to deeply cover each one of these examples of just how many places and how many ways we find these recurring themes of the entrance into the temples of the mysteries and the temples of initiation. So it comes from the very sacred physiology, the physiology of the human being itself, with the entry of the mysteries into the temple of the mystery schools of Freemasonry, the twin pillars of the left and right hemispheres, Jachin and Boaz, which represents masculine and feminine, sun and moon. It represents the solar path, the lunar path, and the middle gateway, the middle pillar of equilibrium, is known as the stellar path. It is the astral path, astral meaning star, meaning the pathway, the gateway, the stairway to heaven, the stairway to the stars, which in the human physiology is represented as the central pillar called the Shushumna, the central axis known as the axis mundi across comparative cultural mythology, as we covered in Symbols of Power Part 3, representing the human spinal column, literally the stairway, literally the stairway, the ladder, Jacob's ladder to heaven, Jacob's beanstalk, Jack and the beanstalk, that you climb the beanstalk to the land of the heavens, to where the ancient Egyptian mysteries, you had the Jed pillar representing the human spine, which climbs the stalk, which climbs the stairway to Sirius, the gateway to the portal to the heavens, to the gateway of the gods, the gateway of the immortality, the immortal resurrection, where you earn your place among the stars and your soul amongst the heavens, in the astral, in other words, amongst the stars. Represented in ancient esoteric Kundalini symbolism as the Ida and Pingala, as the twin serpents, representing the twin pillars, again, of masculine and feminine polarities, the masculine and feminine duality, all of this symbolism coming from the actual physics, the toroidal electromagnetic physics of cosmology. You have the rotating, counter-rotating axes of the twin opposing vortices of the toroidal electromagnetic dynamics of plasma physics, where you have, again, the symbolism of the 1, 0, 1, representing the twin vortices, representing masculine vortices and feminine vortices, the two inverted pyramids that invert with each other and combine into the unification point of the singularity at the 0 point in the center, the unification point between all things. You have two currents. You have masculine and feminine, electric, which is masculine, L, meaning the light, the electricity of God, the masculine aspect of God, and the feminine, the magnetic, the magic, the magnetism, the Magdalena, the magi, the magic, the mysteries of magnetism. The female sucks inward, is magnetic, and the masculine is electric and shoots and emits his electric impulse in order to both unite and create the sex magic of the Big Bang at the singularity point and the 0 point between the two polarities, where all of creation is birthed and all of creation returns to the singularity, the 0 point. In cosmological physics, they refer to it as a black hole. But of course, there are no black holes. It's actually just all plasmoids. It's electromagnetic plasmoid physics. And so again, the 0 point is the birth point. It is the monad. This is the symbolism of DC Comics' Green Lantern Corps, representing literally the plasma physics of the universal cosmology. And of course, the Green Lantern Corps is all about essentially the saviors of the universe. They are the Green Lantern Corps are the defenders of all things good in the universe, the defenders of light. represented by the singularity of the 0 point at the center, represented by the twin opposing vortices of the hourglass figure, representing the immortal cycles of time and reincarnation, and the immortal cycles of physics itself, the physics of nature and of the cosmos itself, the secrets and the mysteries of all of creation, of universal nature. The Greek Omega symbol, representing, again, as we covered in Symbols of Power Part 3, the horseshoe symbol, representing the uterus, literally. The Greek Omega symbol represented the feminine womb. It represented the womb, the egg of creation. The egg, the womb is literally the mammalian form of an egg. Mammals don't lay eggs, but mammals have eggs inside their uterus, and the uterus itself becomes an egg, and it inflates with the child inside it, which is the very symbolism of this Mayan / Hindu symbolism here of the cosmological egg, the cosmic egg, being birthed out of the vaginal gateway, the womb of creation, the twin pillars of the 101 with the portal and the entrance at the center, representing the Kundalini serpents and the thalamus, the 0 point within the center point of the brain, the central point of unification, what we covered in my previous Symbols of Power Part 4 film as the optic chiasm, or as the thalamus. The unification point is literally, a chiasm is literally a crossing point, a crossing over point, represented by the twin pillars of Freemasonry with the square and compass at the center, which again, I've made the first original discovery of presenting the square and the compass, the true origins, representing the female urogenital triangle, which is literally the vaginal gateway. The G spot, literally the gateway of entrance of creation itself. Not just geometry, not just God, but most importantly, the gateway of creation, the vaginal gateway, represented by the twin pillars representing the legs, the 2 legs of the goddess with her gateway, her vortex, located at the very center between the twin pillars, where not only do you enter inside of her portal in order to impregnate her and ignite your spark inside her dark cosmic void in order to give her a big bang, and you impregnate her and she gets pregnant with the sacred egg of cosmology and gives birth to life, but it's the exit point into this reality. The vaginal gateway is the opening and the entrance and the exit of all of life, which is again why we covered in Symbols of Power Part 3, why you bury your dead inside a burial mound. The ancient burial mounds represented the feminine womb, and nobody else has ever discovered that. It's something that I somehow am the first person to ever discover that, is nobody else has ever realized that it's actually literally the exact symbolism of a womb and a vagina. And so that's something that I take a lot of pride in. But I'm so blown away that I can't believe nobody else has ever written about or discovered that. And yet this is one of the gifts, is that, you know, the sexual representations of nature just, they illuminate themselves in all of my work. And represented by the Freemasonic construction of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, representing the sacred 101. The gateway of initiation of the World Trade Center, the Masonic pillars, and the gateway portal of initiation of the 101, represented in the same symbolism of this corporate logo here of this company called Horizons. The horizon, literally, do you notice? Is this just coincidence that they signified the 101 inside the very corporate logo of their symbol, Horizons? They literally eluded the very symbol of the 101 in that logo, and their symbol represents the twin pillars with the horizon beyond the twin pillars is the very origins coming from ancient Greek pillars of Hercules. The mythology of the Pillars of Hercules represented the mysteries of Atlantis. What the land of Atlantis was said to have lied beyond the Pillars of Hercules in Plato's accounts of the land of Atlantis. It lies beyond the twin Pillars of Hercules, which was represented as the Straits of Gibraltar in the Mediterranean Sea. which used to be signified by what was known as the Colossus of Rhodes. And the Colossus of Rhodes was literally the first representation, which then became our later modern Statue of Liberty in New York. And the Statue of Liberty in New York is overlooking the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers, the Twin Pillars of Hercules, the Pillars of Jachin and Boaz, the entrance into the sacred Temple of Solomon, Sol Oman, Sol meaning sun, S-O-L, Sol meaning sun, M-O-N, Mon meaning moon, the Temple of the Sun and the Moon, the Temple of Masculine and Feminine, the sun which lies beyond, on the horizon beyond the twin pillars of the Straits of Gibraltar, representing the flame of enlightenment, the immortal flame of eternal immortality and enlightenment, the solar rays of the halo of Halos, the solar sun, where you enter into the gateway between the Straits of Gibraltar. Underneath the legs of the Colossus of Rhodes, you enter into between the two legs, between the two pillars of Sheila Nagig, the ancient mythological archetypal representation of Sheila Nagig, the cosmic mother, the sacred void, represented in ancient Hindu temple symbolism of the goddess initiation into her gateway through the vagina dentata, represented as the vaginal passageway, which was said to have contained teeth, where the initiate must pass through the teeth, represented with the serpent, the cosmic serpent entering into the gateway, the masculine serpent, the masculine Johnson entering through the portal, through the passageway of initiation, the twin pillars of the goddess. We found this very same symbolism in Lord of the Rings. In Master Professor Tolkien was a master and understood the mysteries of Freemasonry and encoded it deeply into his works of Middle Earth, where our heroes, the Council of 12, the Fellowship of the Ring, they pass through down the river, down the goddess waters, the goddess channel of her Chanel, of her waters of passage. The seamen enter in through the passage, through the twin pillars, the gateway of Gondor, into the land beyond. So it represents the initiatory journey. They are embarking upon their journey at the very beginning of their quest, beyond the twin pillars, initiating into the sacred mysteries and the hero's journey, represented in Theosophist story of Never-Ending Story. I forget the guy who created it, but he was a well-known, long-term practicing Theosophist, and he encoded the mysteries of the universe and the mysteries of the esoteric mystery schools in that work of the Never-Ending Story, a true masterpiece. The whole theme was Atreyu had to gain his confidence. He had to know thyself. Like the ancient Greek temples over the Temple of Delphi read Temet Noshe, meaning know thyself. From the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, meaning he whoever shall know thyself, the kingdom of heaven lies within, and whoever shall know thyself shall find it. You must come to know yourself. You must be confident in your own abilities in order to enter, to successfully pass through the gateways of initiation. Otherwise, you will be destroyed upon entry. Just as the gateway of initiation, the initiate who had impure intentions and who did not pass through the dark night of the soul beforehand was destroyed by his own ego, by his own folly. And he did not pass through the wings of the cherubim into the Ark of the Covenant within, inside the Holy of Holies, inside the central portion of the brain, beyond the gate of the sphenoid bone, into the Ark of the Covenant. And again, here's the sacred lantern symbolism, the green lantern symbolism of the 101, of the portal, the gateway of the heart, the green initiation, the central pillars of the heart. And also we found it in master esotericist Steven Spielberg's newest film, Ready Player One, which was all about the initiatory process and encoded the deep symbolism of the Kundalini serpents. It was all about finding the golden egg, The golden egg, the sun, the inner sunlight within us between the twin pillars. That whole theme of Ready Player One was about finding the golden Easter egg. And when he finally found the golden Easter egg, it was located. What was the symbolism they showed? They showed the symbolism of the two Kundalini serpents upholding the thalamus and the golden egg, which he then seized. Just as the very symbolism of Jack and the Beanstalk, where he ascended the beanstalk, the ladder to heaven, and he had to find the golden goose egg and return back to Earth with the prize he had stolen from the gods, from the giants, up in the clouds. He stole the golden goose egg and returned back to Earth from the heavens. Just as Prometheus stole the fire of the gods, the treasure, the food of the gods, and returned it back to Earth and gave it to humanity, which became our wisdom of the esoteric mystery schools, which is the golden egg, the light of the sun, the eternal flame of consciousness that we embark upon and go upon our hero's journey through the gateway of initiation to attain the sacred mysteries and the knowledge of self-mastery and self-illumination. Just as depicted in Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. Join the quest. This is literally the promo graphic for that film that was hanging outside of the theaters promoting this film. Join the quest. Entering into the initiatory gateway, joining the quest. Just as Lord of the Rings. Just as we found in Neverending Story. Join the quest. Join the sacred mystery schools. Join the Freemasons through the gateway of initiation. Inquire within. Inquire within not just the temple, but the temple is within yourself. The Temple of Solomon represents the human body. The true temple of God is within you. And whosoever shall know themselves shall find it. And so this literally represents the essence of sacrifice, of typically inner self metaphorical sacrifice to a new self, but also has been used for thousands of years as an external proxy sacrifice, physical sacrifice, many forms, in the forms of the scapegoat, of the Azazel goat, many different rituals throughout ancient Hebrew, and so very, very significant. And so this is the mystery of the 101, and this, I've got full presentations written, and will be books as well, that's going so much deeper into this significance here, again in this full presentation, so we won't cover hardly any of this here. But so again, this is why the initiation represents the 101. It's the beginning of the journey. This is why you take an initiatory course, is the 101 course. It's the beginner's course. You are the neophyte entering into the temple, into the Masonic temple, through the twin pillars and through the left and right hemispheres, anatomically and spiritually, into the stars, astrotheologically, speaking from a sense of consciousness. And so this is literally the symbolic meaning, the symbolic synchromystic significance of Kobe, essentially wearing the royal Tyrian purple and gold of the purple royal kings, being ascended and sacrificing, self-sacrifice, and the mysteries of death and initiation into the afterlife. And as always, I had written about this years ago, fully explaining all of this in my full presentation, Phoenix Consciousness Rising from the Esoteric Ashes of Pyrification. Pyrification, a play on words of purification, because pure is, they're literally the same etymological word. They're the same meaning, the same etymological essence. But so the essence of this is literally the phoenix, the ancient Egyptian phoenix, the Bennu bird, was literally derived, rather than the ibis, was actually rather derived from the purple heron, which was literally the colors of the sunset, of the evening, the time between the cross transition between worlds of day and night, where the sunset, the horizon, is the colors of amber, orange, and purple, the colors of royalty, the colors of transition or crossing over, the crossroads between life and death, day and night, between realms, which is literally why the phoenix is representative of the orange and the purple, or the orange and gold, the purple and gold, the colors of death and rebirth and resurrection. Literally, this is the essence, this is the ritual. It's known as crossing the abyss, which is also the name of my second channel, which you guys should go and subscribe to if you're not already subscribed. Crossing the abyss. So this is the essence of crossing the abyss from life into death, the crossing the threshold between the two realms, between the two worlds, is literally the symbolic, whether you want to consider this, you know, something orchestrated or just divinely, miraculously, synchromystically organized, however you want to view this, as just random wild coincidence or personal apophenia, seeing obvious symbolic patterns in all of this that clearly tells a very meaningful story. But this is the mystery of synchromysticism, is it doesn't have to automatically have meaning for the sync itself to be meaningful. The language of synchronicity, the language of sync for short, as we call it, is far deeper than we can usually typically comprehend. But as we start to see these syncs and the patterns come together and the web begin to connect things, you begin to understand a higher level of language, because the energetics, the structure of energetics in physics and in the universe is literally the energetic pattern it's the self-organizing principle. This is the principle that organizes not just events but pathways of energy flow. And so this is the underlying energetic structure that we physically witness in life through the form of synchronicity. As far as events, chronological or simultaneous events occurring in the physical world. This is what we see it manifested as physically. But again, it's a form of synchromystic sigil magic, a form of There's an interesting alternative perspective through synchromysticism where the act of creating such cartoons and scripts sort of acts as a form of sigil magic or sympathetic magic or proxy magic, in the form of mentally creating a concept, an egregore, a thought, a concept, and through the act of writing it with the hand, essentially bringing your thoughts into the physical world through the act of writing or through the hand, a sort of talismanic signature that, when combined with a large viewing audience or many conscious points of consciousness focusing on your talismanic signature that you have created, through that act of so many people using their two visual eyes and their third inner visual eye to focus and triangulate their point of awareness, their points of consciousness, that many points of awareness, paying into or attention to that talisman, actually narrows down, statistically, it narrows the odds, such as if you were to notice this in random number generators, the act of consciousness can actually affect the outcome of the random number generators, actually makes the random numbers become more coherent. So it's that act of focus that actually makes the energy coherent, becomes more coherent, which dramatically reduces the astronomical odds of some type of random event occurring, and it actually makes it much more predictable, makes it much more probable, or possibly actually even manifesting in physical reality. First, manifesting it on the causal level or the mental level, and through the public energy organizes that probability and enhances the probability of it occurring, a form of sympathetic vibratory resonance. This is an interesting connection, though, obviously, with the Orange County, and Orange County has deep esoteric symbolism involved in shootings and massacres and mysterious deaths of people, because of my entire, and based on Christopher Lord's work about the entire essence of the Orange Warning and the Orange House of Death, the Orange Warning, the Orange foreshadowing of death. And I've got vast works documenting countless ways that this takes into account here, which is the same essence, which is very interesting and very intriguing, the connection between the LA Lakers, which don the colors of the royal Tyrian purple and gold, which are the colors of royalty, of the ancient Cana Phoenician royalty, as I've documented fully here, which you guys can read fully about in my full basically ebook presentation, Symbolism Will Be Their Downfall and Our Redemption, as well as its offshoots and corresponding works of Assassination Nation, engineering the Cabal's, decoding the Cabal's engineered civil war, as well as this other work, Assassination Nation. So I've got several works fully outlining and documenting this connection, so it goes far too deep to even begin to explain. And I had a previous video back in 2016 fully documenting this Code Orange Warning, MK Ultra violence symbolism that was used in the Pulse nightclub back in 2016 with the Pulse nightclub events, and very strange discrepancies involving all of these by the people who know who document the symbolism, the ancient Cana Phoenician Illuminati Brotherhood. And so of course, the interesting implications of the royalty comes from Kobe was located in Corona del Mar of Los Angeles, as Corona is obviously Latin for, obviously comes from the root of crown, of Latin coronation, corona, the royalty, the king, the royal purple and Tyrian gold, the Tyrian royal purple orange and purple house of royalty, the houses of orange and the houses of purple, the MK Ultra violence, and there is so much esoteric symbolism to all of this. I'm not planning on getting into that in this video. I'm just documenting these connections. And so again, Corona del Mar, whereas Kobe Bryant was essentially, he held the all-time scoring record, which has just been surpassed by King James, literally the day before his death. So King James essentially takes the crown. And then the next day, Kobe dies in a shocking, mysterious helicopter explosion.
And we all know about the certain massacres and certain events that have taken place at the Olympics as well.
You know, the purple above the head, the crown. We have the
which is why purple is a royal color. The Tyrian purple, the royal color of Phoenicia.
Right, the green is in the heart, and the yellow is in the belly. So that shows right there the spirit going into, you know, through the heart into the belly.
Spirit into matter.
But yeah, that color of purple, we were talking about that the other day. There was something else. They made that from some sort of rare animal that is only there, right?
Yeah, it's a mollusk, a type of a type of snail. And it produces this purple dye that's, it's only found in that area, and it's really hard. It's a really rare commodity to come by, so that's why it's a royal color, because only the royal elites could afford, you know, to get this, could acquire this dye. And again, that goes back to the royal color. Obviously, it relates to the crown chakra, because that's why it's the royal color of ancient Phoenicia.
Right, and Roy is the king.
Yeah, Roy El, which El was the god of Phoenicia, the god king, the Roy El. But yeah, that goes back to the Phoenicians were the purple people. But yeah, so the purple is the combination of red and blue, the red and the blue pill taken together to get the purple, or the two halves of the season, which in between the red and the blue in astrotheology makes the purple. That line in between is the mixing. It's the purple. It's that unified balance between the two.
Nice. That purple, because it was so rare, couldn't make it everywhere where there were kings. So then the kings, especially of Europe, we know those red capes that the kings then had. They went to red as the royal color. And if you look now, yes, and the fairies had the color of blue. So the female color was actually blue, and the male color was red. And they turned it around on us. You know, we dress the boys in blue, and the girls in red and pink.
They combine, and at that middle point there is the purple. That is what many ancient royal bloodlines, as well as ancient royal cults, will always wear the crimson and the purple. The crimson purple, Tyrian purple.
Yeah, you see it in old churches on stained glass windows are all purple and gold. That's interesting.
Purple and gold, which is very... Well, essentially, those are the two colors of mind control symbolism. Colors of mind control symbolism. Because they come from the Royal Dutch House of Orange, which is related to the House of Windsor. You know, they're all essentially the same family bloodlines, but the royal purple, when you start to really understand the purple and the orange, you will never look at Hollywood the same way again. You'll realize that all the movies are, I mean, especially the very esoteric ones, they always show you the orange and the purple color scheme. Or the orange and gold, they go together. But those essentially, they come from, orange and purple are the colors of Cana Phoenicia, the colors of Saturn L.
Yeah. Oh, purple, yeah, purple, I remember now.
Orange is the esoteric color of warning in the ember months of the year, such as November and December, when the sun has gone into its ember state of the year, which is at its low point just before it dies its death at the winter solstice, where it will then be reborn again at the spring as the color green, in the green spring of fertility. So the ember months are when the sun has become ember or amber orange, which is the sun's warning just before it dies and then will be reborn again. So the orange is the color of warning, as in the amber alert, as in code orange, which is the state of alert for terrorist threats, which is a stage just below red alert, which is the highest state of warning. The bull god, El, Cronus, or Saturn, was the most high of the Bible, and thus wore the crown, which comes from the word crone, or Cronus, who was the old crone. The crown, or Charon, comes from Cronus, and corona, which comes from the sun. A corona is a halo, a crown. The etymology of crown comes from Latin corona, a gaseous envelope of the sun and other stars. Hence, a crown symbolizing the rays of the sun. Corona and crown come from Greek koroné, meaning anything curved, a kind of crown, which comes from the curve of the golden rings of Saturn. Saturn, who is known as Lord of the Rings, and is also known as the Greek god Kronos, or Father Time, who gives us the word chronology, crown, coronation, corona, crone, which is exactly why all who wear crowns are literally cronies. Kronos, who in ancient times was known as the best sun during the golden age of Kronos, who was the king of the age because he emitted a glorious halo. Halo comes from Greek halos, meaning disk of the sun or moon, ring of light around the sun or moon, or in other words, the golden rings, which rivaled or tempted our modern sun, today known as our Son of God, the temptation of Jesus, the Son of God. And this is exactly why to this day we still pay homage to this best son by wearing golden wedding rings as well as earrings. In the ancient Canaan Phoenician city of Byblos, also known as El Jabal, Saturn or Kronos was the king of Byblos, or the founder of Byblos. Kronos was known as the god El, the Most High, and was described as twin pillars, or twin towers. The number 11, because the two L's are even. They are parallel to one another. They are parallel. They are literally a pair of L's.
And that's all I have for you guys today. May your souls shine among the stars, and may the light of the heavens shine within you. And why he must now sacrifice his most beloved, his firstborn child, just as the ancient Hebrew Old Testament sacrifice of the firstborn child of Isaac and Abraham, sacrificing your firstborn, the most loved.
The price. Saul holds a special place among the Infinity Stones. You might say it has a certain wisdom.
And why they show you the symbolism of the rising phoenix, the symbolism of the symbol of sacrifice, where you sacrifice yourself between the twin pillars during your gateway of initiation in order to be reborn as your new self into your initiatory power, as the purple tyrannical tyrant of tyranny of the Tyrian purple Phoenician phoenix, of ancient Phoenician of Tyre, of Tyrian purple, is the same character as Ozymandias, who is the rising phoenix, the character of sacrifice, who sacrifices half of the population in order to achieve the end game, to achieve the end goal. And yet again, this is exactly why I've covered in my full ebook article presentations, is this is the exact representation of why they depict the phoenix or the sacred owl rising, sitting atop the truncated pyramid in Washington, D.C. It's representing the ascended spirit, the ascended winged crown of ascension, the winged sun of the ancient Phoenician phoenix of consciousness, and signifying enlightenment and the death and resurrection and rebirth of eternal immortality and immortal spirit, the infinity war, the infinite war, the ascension of holy consciousness, and the infinite spirit. And see my full presentations linked in the description box in the video below, and at patreon.com/liftingtheveil for so much more of these full exclusive content. Which is why it's depicted at Burning Man, the very symbol of the rising phoenix, the very symbol of the eternal Star Wars, the Star Wars of the Phoenix Squadron, which was the very beginning of the rebellion of Phoenix Squadron, which is why it's the symbol of the Rebel Alliance, is the Phoenix of the Umpangong. And so yet again, now you finally understand through, this is my entirely own original work and discoveries of the sacred symbolism of sacrifice depicted in Infinity War, in Avengers Infinity War, related to why at Black Rock City and Burning Man they depict the ancient symbolism of the ascension of the rising phoenix, of death and rebirth and sacrifice, representing the burning of the man, the burning sacrifice, the purification ritual of pyrification, literally representing the infinite war, infinite war symbolism of, again, of Avengers, the ascension of consciousness through the Stargate, through the portal of the pineal gland of consciousness, the holy mountain, the axis mundi, the world pillar, all the symbolism the world over, entrance through the Stargate to the sacred representation of the Yao, literally meaning the infinite year. The Yao, the pillar, the Alpha, and the Omega. The radii, Alpha, Omega. Literally the Yao, the literal symbolism of the human consciousness, of the human ascension, of representing human anatomy, of the pineal gland, which is the capstone of enlightenment, literally the chief cornerstone, the representation of Christ in the Bible as the chief cornerstone, as the death and the resurrection, the eternal symbolism of consciousness and enlightenment, ascending the holy mountain to receive the covenant of the 2 tablets atop Mount Sinai, where you must sacrifice and make the ultimate sacrifice in order to ascend, in order to achieve a higher level of consciousness, a higher understanding, at the tip of the pyramid, at the tip of the apex of the apex of enlightenment. In every symbolism, in every ancient Egyptian ritual, in all of our modern Hollywood symbols, in the Las Vegas Route 91 harvest sacrifice ritual, in Star Wars Crimson Empire, all infinite same symbolism. Literally, this is the exact same symbolism of the Salk Institute. They have a sacrificial altar, an altar of sacrifice for consciousness enlightenment at the Salk Institute as well, through Crimson Golden Dawn. Crimson Dawn of Star Wars, Han Solo, the DC Comics Orange Lantern Corps, the Order of the Black Sun, the Crimson Empire of Star Wars, the Council of Blood, as above, so below. And once again, we find this very same Illuminati Ascension symbolism, again representing the symbols of the Alpha, Omega, of the first, the beginning and the end, the infinite creation of all things, of spiritual ascension, of enlightenment, Alpha and Omega. We find it in the Manchester Eye, in what's the Ferris wheel known as the Eye of Manchester, as in the all-seeing Eye of Manchester, as well as the very same symbolism in the layout of the Hoover Dam in Las Vegas, Nevada. at the Terrazzo Plaza. The very same symbolism that I happened to notice on the floor, on the lobby floor of a Century 13 movie theater in California when I went to go see a movie in an orange and purple movie theater of Century Theaters. They had the very same Illuminati all-seeing Alpha Omega symbolism on the floor, the tile floor in the lobby. Same thing with, they had lights all throughout each of the theaters that had the very same symbolism refracting through a pane with the lights of red and blue, depicting the duality, the polarities of nature, ascending to the infinite white light of ascension. And it goes on and on and on. I could give literally countless examples of illumination of the Illuminati symbolism. It's infinite. I could go in countless infinite examples explaining the original symbolism and these original discoveries never before revealed, which all comes from the ancient Hebrew blood sacrificial system of the scapegoat ritual of releasing the sacrificial victim off of the ledge, off of the cliff. The same ritual as the 9/11 sacrifice ritual of releasing the victim off from between the twin pillars, the twin towers.
Same energy signature as New York?
10 times bigger.
So now you will understand, you will have the wisdom and understanding to know the secrets of the universe, of what it is all about, of why Hollywood is showing you the secrets of the universe, of the initiation rituals of blood sacrifice, in order to achieve the the spoils of the soul stone between the 12 stones, the sacred stones of the ancient Hebrew Levite priesthood, of the breastplate.
Same energy signature as New York?
10 times bigger.
And if it did not die, that was a bad omen for the nation, for the future of the tribe, and they were cursed with the bad omen for the next harvest of the next season, of the next high holy day season of the days of awe, the Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur harvest season during the 10th of Tishri, which last year of 2018, I can't believe 2018 is already gone now, what literally occurred. Yom Kippur was literally on September 11th. Or was that 21st? No, that was the autumn equinox. But which one of these high holidays occurred on September 11th? That's what the symbolism of 7/11, September 11th is all about. It's all about the Jewish, ancient Hebrew high holidays of blood ritual sacrifice to cleanse or purify or purge the nation of the sins of the people.
Warning, announcing the commencement of the annual purge.
What the ancient Hebrew Levite Levitican Aaronic priesthood, the high magi Illuminati brotherhood, this is what they actually believe. They literally believe, and I've cited, I will be showing and explaining all of this in these full book and film publications. Irrefutably, you can't argue against this. You can't say I'm this crazy conspiracy theorist. It's legitimate fact, and it's simple fact of I mean, anyone can look it up. That's what it's called, the Hebrew sacrificial system. That's what it is. They literally believe that you can be cleansed and purified of your sins, of your crimes against humanity by committing more crimes against humanity. That's what the ancient Hebrew Levitican Aaronic priesthood literally believed. They literally believed that you could cleanse and purify the nation by sacrificing animals, innocent scapegoat animals, and by using their blood and anointing the sacrificial altar with the blood. And this always occurred on significant lunar holidays during the basically what were blood moons, or known as the harvest moon of the ancient Hebrew times. And it's all here. I mean, it's all here. I'm just sort of trying to regurgitate it off this, and I shouldn't even be revealing this without getting deep into it, because I'm going to sound like a crazy person, and you're going to think I'm nuts because because you're not getting the full depth, the deep state of delusion that people are in. But I'm getting redundant here. I think we're going to call it a day. I wasn't even planning on getting into that.
May your souls shine among the stars, and may the light of the heavens shine within you.
I'd love to hear your comments on that in the section down below, so that way I can go through and read some of what you have to say about it. If this is the type of content that interests you, make sure to check out my full presentations, as well as my further research, my further films, and my previous videos that you can find in the full archives at patreon.com/liftingtheveil. The link will be in the description below, and all my cited source links will be in that article description as well. And I'm sorry I didn't want to make this too long. I wanted to make this a short video. And as always, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch my videos. If you enjoy this information, please share it around with anyone who you think might also appreciate the information.
It's my greatest passion, and my purpose and my mission is to continue to produce genuinely inspired and meaningful, uplifting content, intellectual pieces of art.
We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of just how much info is ready and waiting to be produced. I can't even keep up with the amount of output, or let alone the amount of writing that is coming through. We haven't even gotten started yet. We are just warming up.
Please help me continue in this mission.
And check out the merch in the links below. Help support my channel that way, or support my channel on patreon.com/liftingtheveil. Links in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video. There is so much more content coming up.